Good evening, everybody. This is David Duncan. Kind of the continuation. I kind of got busy with work and life but we're going to keep going on with these little mini series. April's coming up on us pretty quick, and for a lot of us, that's when a lot of us start fishing. Tonight, I'm going to go over probably one of the most important ones, at least I think, is jig storage, right? How do we take our jigs on the boat? How do we organize them? Just jig keepers, holders, storage for it. And if you guys are like me, you'll learn very quickly that it is a rabbit hole you can go down trying to figure out the best way to organize your jigs, how to store them, what to bring. Maybe I can either save you some money because you won't buy as much stuff as what I went through, or I'll make you spend more money because you realize what you had is what you want. So we're going to go through a bunch of the items. I'm also going to show you how the jigs fit in them. We're going to measure some of them, but that's going to be the big thing for it. So if you're new to the channel, whatnot, please like and subscribe. If you guys aren't aware, I'm pro staff with Johnny Jigs and also AFCO and a few other companies. So a lot of the jigs and stuff you'll see are going to be Johnny Jigs, showing references for them. I've got some other jigs that are a little bigger that some of the guys might be using that we're going to show how they sit in the jig holders. And hopefully this helps you guys out. Please like the comments. I'll put links on them. I try to do a good job of showing every vendor that I possibly have used before, so not just strictly Johnny Jigs. And so you'll see some tonight from Palmarius. You'll see Chad Busiere with Jig Worx. You're going to see some major craft, of course, Johnny Jigs ones, and we're just going to kind of walk through it. Let's kind of get started. Kind of get you guys set up here. So the most common one that most guys have on these trips are going to be like jig rolls. These are really great. They're cheap. They're inexpensive. This is the Johnny Jigs one. And so like for this one, for example, it's going to be about 12.25 inch wide. I don't know if we can see that. Maybe if I can zoom out just a little bit more. There we go. 12 quarter inch wide. This one's going to be about 21.5 inches. So the big thing to notice with these though is when you go to buy them is pay attention to how wide your slits are for it. And so I'm going to hold it up to the camera more. This is what's been really important. And the reason I say that is jigs like a torpedo. So this is a 500 gram fit, fairly easy in these, right? They still stretch it out some, so that's what's kind of important for it to note. Is also the shape of your jig when you go in there. So you start throwing all these jigs in, you get some that fit, but then you get something like a one drop that will fit, but you got to be kind of careful because you don't want it ripping and tearing this too much. And so it's an item of concern. So I would recommend just the standard jig roll for most companies. For more your torpedo shapes, you might be able to get away with like a 300 gram flat back. Yeah, it's not too bad. It doesn't stretch it out. I wonder if I can bring this up the camera a little bit more. Sorry for the fuzzy camera set up. There we go. And so stuff like that you can get away by. Like I said, so the same jig in different shapes is going to be a big factor. So that's a 300 gram. But you see like something like an ultra flutter, you gotta have to be a little bit more concerned with it. So that's the big thing I would advise everybody, just kind of being aware. And so kind of keep moving along. So once again, this is the Johnny Jigs, like jig wrap, jig roll, sorry. And these, like most things, you just kind of roll them up. They do roll well on the boats. They're cheap. They're pretty durable. They can get wet. They dry out pretty easy. You throw all your jigs in, you get those in the bottom of the boat. So that's that kind of style. So keeping along with that one, another company that makes if you are from Florida, you know them all too well. And it's going to be good old SoFlo Eddie. His wife like hand stitches these and hands makes them, and they can put like all the different colors and all that jazz. And so this is one of the bigger ones I have. And forgive the blowout a little bit here. I put jigs that were way too big and I ripped it. That was on me. That's not on his quality. Don't be like me. I put too many and then I pile jigs on top of each other. But this one's great because it is wider. So now you can drop those flatbacks in real easy. This is a one drop. If you look, still kind of pull, and so that's what I was concerned with. And the good thing about this one, if you look, it's going to be a little bit longer than the regular one for it, and so you're able to put some of these big jigs in it, no problem. So you can put like this 500 gram torpedo and then have absolutely no problem fitting those in. And so that's the one I really like, the beauty of these. And they do different sizes. And so kind of moving along with this is his jumbo. So when we go real deep, or if you want to store a bunch of jigs in it, this one could be one for everybody too. So if you look, get the old tape measure out. It's going to be about the same length. It's going to fold it up some. So we look about 21.5. Lengthwise, we're getting closer to 16.5. But the big thing, look how wide these slits are. So you can put like a 500 gram flatback all day in it, no problem. Those one drops that everybody's having issues with a second ago, they fit no problem. And the beauty of it, I don't know if you can see, is now you can fit multiple. So instead of taking several jig rolls, if you do some of these, you can do really, you can double up with bigger jigs. And like, so that's a 530 gram railer next to a 500 gram plus one drop, and you got plenty of space. And then if you go on these big boy trips, you do Pulley Ridge or these deep drop trips on the AP where they're going for swords and everything. This, I don't know if you can see that. That is a 1,000 gram jig. And so that's and just show you size comparison. That is a 1,000 gram jig next to Johnny Jig's 800 gram. You see the girth on that. If you look, it fits in there no problem. The same, we throw in an 800 gram torpedo. Plenty of room. And like I said, the beauty of this one is if you wanted to take a bunch of smaller jigs and just stick with one jig roll, you can easily do that. So 600 gram, throw that in all day. You could probably sneak in a railer or something up top. So there is some beauty with these. Instead of just hit eddy up, SoFlo eddy, they do these and it's pretty awesome for it. And then they custom make these. His wife sells all these, so it's coming from a small business which everybody loves to support. All right, let's keep moving on. Let's mix it up a little bit. We're gonna try something a little different. So the ones that I also like are these style here, and these are more like the book style. And so this is a Johnny Jigs one for it. And this one's great because if you look, it's got zippers all on the inside where you can put leader material, you can put assist hooks, everything you kind of imagine for it. These are super clean. And I like these for the little bigger jigs. So your wider jigs like this Ultra Flutter, you can throw those in these side pockets really easy. And they have a ton of space. I don't know if you can see that. Same thing with like the UFO style. No problem. Fits in there, doesn't bind or anything. And these are great for like day trips or multi-day trips because you can take these and throw a whole bunch of jigs all together for it. So like I said, that is a 200 gram torpedo. So the issue you will run into is just length. And so that's what I want everybody to be aware of on these is like this is a 400 gram. It fits, but you see it kind of binds a little bit here at the top. I don't know if you guys can see that. It sticks out. And so when you go to close it, you can stick it out the side, but they can fall out. So it is really good for some of your shorter, wider jigs, which I do like these type for. Like, so with all the storage is really nice. I take this one for a lot of my one drops because these sit in here really nice and they still close. And so what I'll do is do all my 500 gram one drops on one side and my 400 gram, and that way it organizes them really well. Like I said, if you see, you can fit a ton of jigs on there, and then still have all your storage, and then your big zipper here as well. So it's another really solid option, solid handle, and then you're gonna have your little clips and whatnot, and then obviously your buckle keeps everything secure. So solid option for this one. This one you get on JohnnyJigs.com. Same thing with the Johnny Jigs jig roll. If you want the SoFlo Eddie one, I'll put his link in the bio as well, and you can just hit him up on Facebook and order one of those. Let's keep moving along. This is one that I picked up a style because of the Yankee Cap trip that I did with actually Will Crane and Chris Doyle and the boys. Is they took one of these mesh bags, and these mesh bags are now one of my new favorite things, especially for big jigs that you're not going to really care about. Like, so this is my hodgepodge jig component. But if you look, I've got all big jigs, 600 grams, 700. This is just the hodgepodge of like all the jigs that I never really use anymore. But if you look, they take up, you can put a whole bunch in there. It's got straps, and you can just throw this on the deck of the boat. And so I saw the Johnny boys, they put all their big 600, 700 gram jigs for that. What I would recommend with these is if you toss them in these, go ahead and close this up. Right, so you're going to take your little snap. It's got Velcro here, but you see it's got all these gaps. Dan from Palmarius gives these away quite often if you order from him. So I take these little like strap things he's got. They're like elastic, they're neoprene. What I do, makes life a lot easier, is I just strap the hell of it down. And now, if you look, nothing's really going to come out. So just be prepared, though. If you kind of hold it at an angle because of it, they will slide out the end a little bit, so just be prepared. But this is a great option for jigs that you don't really use too often. Your cheapo jigs, your really big jigs that you don't fit in a holder. You can throw them all this, and that's what Will Crane and the boys did on the Yankee Cat last year, or 2 years ago. Another option from Major Craft is these kind of tote bag things. They're kind of neat. These I wouldn't put as heavy of jigs, but these are kind of neat too. This is where I keep a lot of my tuna lures in, oddly. So Simon from Major Craft gave me this. So all my jigs in here, or all my like poppers and halcos and everything. But you can use this for jigs. Same kind of idea with the mesh bag, just more of a bag style. And they've got this little drawer kind of thing, like that slides out. You can get to everything. So this is another really solid option for them. This is the Major Craft one. Really clean. It's going to be about 14 inches wide, give or take. We're looking about 6 1/4 inches, or say 14 inches long, and about 6 1/4 wide. These, Dan from Palmarius was nice enough to gift me one of these, just to kind of give him some testing on it. These are great bags. So these are their jig bags. I'm not a fan of them as a jig bag. They do come with all these boards. I forgot how he describes them for it. But these are for like jig boards. You can put all your jigs in them. These I probably never use. These are way too small jigs. We don't really use those down here, unfortunately, for that one. But he does have these that have the bigger ones for it. And then you have your other jigs where you can go through and put them all in there. And I think he has a newer one. This is one of his older models for it. So he's probably got newer ones. They have different setups and all these. And then once again, this is for his longer jigs. So you can put those really long jigs. Only thing, once again, see how narrow these are? I'm concerned that you're going to rip these. And the same thing. But these are great because they're waterproof. And I use the hell out of them. I used to put a lot of my electrics stuff in it. Or I'd put my Gamakatsu boxes for anything because all these are waterproof. So you can throw them on the deck and they can get doused and nothing's going to get wet inside. So I use these almost as a dry storage for it. There's a big zipper up here at the front and then a really good material. It's got a strap, and so this is another great option to give away, or sorry, not to give away, excuse me, to take with you. Once again, I would use it more as a dry storage than anything. And the ones that I've been using the most lately are from Busiere, which a lot of us know Chad, deep liner, and then just kind of a lot of us, these are JDM connection. Is going to be his jig buckets. And so when he first came out with them, this is the one I use on a lot of trips. This was the circular one, so it was the true bucket. He 3D prints all these. He does a really good job of even doing the nuance of putting a cushion on the bottom so they don't slide, but also so they don't get beat up. Drilling drain holes, so if they get wet, all your stuff will drain out, all your jigs will drain. Really strong handle. And for being 3D printed, I didn't know a ton. And I've put in 70 or 80 pounds worth of jigs on these. There are some issues in why he changed to more of a square style and got rid of the handle, is you kind of have a pivot point now. And so when you're going to lean over the boat, put them in, you can possibly dump it just because of that. But it does have a holder to put pliers or anything else you want. I like this one personally. And he's got different depths. I don't know if you can see this for it. So it's for more shorter jigs, and then he's got the ones for the taller jigs. This is one of his older models that I was really fond of. And then he upgraded, and then he was like, how do I make this more stable? And he started doing more the square bucket styles. And with these is pretty sweet. Everything's 3D printed still. He still has the really sturdy bottom where it won't slide. You got your drain holes for it. All these are 3D printed too. He's got his handles, which is nice. And if we look, you notice the height. It's going to be taller. So this is going to be really, really good when we put our bigger jigs in it because it gives you a little bit more support than you only have on that one side. Like I said, these smaller sides, they don't work as well. And so that's the new evolution for them. And so you can hit up Chad from Worx for these. These are what I highly recommend. This is what a lot of guys are using now. Chad did the trip with John when they went and fished with Joe VT and they hit Geyer. They used something similar. He took one of these because, and a lot of people commented on it. And that's how I found out about it. Was I went and watched the video and hit Chad up. and that was something he was working on. So these are the new big evolution types. Really strong handles. You can still put 70 to 80 pounds of jig. My phone. Still put 70, 80 pounds of, and these are gonna be really good because when you're carrying, these are gonna be real sturdy to carry over the edge of the boat. And that's my biggest concern with that, is not dropping thousands of dollars worth of jigs into the water. So hope helps some people for it. So now you have options of how to carry your jigs. And so depending on the boat you go, like some of the boats, like your big head boats, your Yankee Cap, your American Patriot, even Matt Smith down here in Freeport in Texas, you can leave them on the deck. They'll be out of the way for it. Some of the boats, like the center console ones, like when you get with Joey or Joe VT or Owen from down the bayou, they're going to want you to put them in the hole. So you have to put them down the bottom of the boat. Or you put them in the live well. Joey and Owen have been doing their live well, which is great for saving space. So just be aware that your stuff might get wet, or just having easy access to get it out. And don't take too much stuff just because you think you need it, don't mean you need it. A lot of times Joey has joked and called us out that how many jigs have we brought that we've never even touched. So I'd also like look at your jigs and don't just take jigs just to take them, but kind of game plan your depths you're going to take. And really, like Benny or Chad said before, take those jigs that you do use, master a few jigs, know exactly what they're doing, and then move on to start using other ones. So that's what I'd recommend. I'd bring a lot of jigs, and many times they don't even touch the water for it. I think that's it for you guys. I really appreciate it. I'll keep doing more of these. I think this was the biggest one that a lot of guys were concerned with, is kind of how to organize their jigs, how to carry them on the boat, where to put them, what are some of the habits for it. So just so you guys are aware, like the Yankee Cap and the American Patriot, or even like Matt Smith, you could throw them on the floor of the boat. You can leave them on the deck. Keep them out of the way so they don't trip. Because the big thing with these jigs is I'll take 80 to 100 pounds of jigs. And if you've ever stubbed your toe on those jig bags or buckets, it hurts like a pain in the ass. And then when you go on the center consoles, you want to keep the deck clean, just because now you have a lot smaller area to walk around. So a lot of said it's going to go on the bottom of the boat. It's going to go on the live well. So kind of think that too, depending on the type of boat you're on. Game plan of what kind of bag you take, or jig roll or wrap. And that's what I would say for it. And also just kind of think about the jig types you're using. And when you're looking at the bag, some of these jigs are the length perfectly fine for them, but it's the width. Like you saw on some of those, the straps, like the little elastic area of the jig wraps or rolls, don't always have that. And Johnny Jigs has a new one that's kind of neat. It's kind of a half roll where it flips in half. And in the middle, it's got like a plastic where you can put leader material and all that jazz in there, which is pretty neat. And if there's any other ones anybody thinks about, let me know for. Those are the big ones that I'm aware of. And if you've seen, I've spent way too much money on jig storage and all of that for it. So hopefully either saves your wallet or make you spend more. I really appreciate you guys. Hit like and subscribe on here. Hopefully I'll be putting out some more videos. I've got trips coming up soon, so we'll be doing more trips type of videos. I've got AFCO stickers and Johnny Jig stickers, and maybe giving away some of my assist tucks on these upcoming trips if you're on there with them. So I appreciate it. Thanks, guys.